The New York Knicks are reportedly interested and could pursue a potential Russell Westbrook trade. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got some more NBA news to talk about, some more being reported by Eric Pincus, and this is something that I didn't really expect. We've heard him report about an anonymous NBA executive reportedly said that the only team that would fit Russell Westbrook's play style is the Knicks. He obviously reported on that, and then a little bit later he's kind of come out now and said that the Knicks could pursue and will most likely show interest in Russell Westbrook. Now, I think this is very interesting, and look, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I really don't like this move at all. I don't think it makes any sense for the team. What the NBA executive, whatever NBA executive that was, that said that Russell Westbrook would be good for the system, it makes no sense at all. Westbrook, if I was to build a team around Westbrook, we've seen that he is a very insufficient shooter, and he's just so streaky with it, especially with Houston in the playoffs. I would definitely put a bunch of shooters around him. I don't really think it's working at Houston right now, because I feel like James Harden plays better when he has the ball in his hand, and he can, if he's not playing that good, he can rely on another playmaker that could be, someone cheaper like Austin Rivers or something like that. I don't necessarily feel like they both work because they're both so ball dominant, and I just don't think it's really the greatest thing out there. But they did put shooters around him, but again, I just don't think it works because they're so ball dominant. But when it does come, to the New York Knicks, let's just look at their young core for a second. The team that they're most likely going to be building around: RJ Barrett, he's a below average 3-point shooter. Mitchell Robinson cannot shoot threes. Kevin Knox is a below average 3-point shooter. Frank Ntilikina, another below average 3-point shooter. Dennis Smith Jr., he's probably going to be out of it, very soon, who's still relatively young. Another below average 3-point shooter. So in what way does Russell Westbrook fit the team and could fit the system? Yes, maybe Tom Thibodeau having the system of bringing in more mid-range shots would be a pretty interesting one, but again, he's still going to need 3-point shooters around him, and besides maybe Reggie Bullock, they've got really no 3-point shooters at all. Not just that, I don't like the move of the Knicks being interested in Russell Westbrook really one bit. I feel like there are more cons than pros. I feel like if you're gonna build around this really nice, young core that they're starting to get at New York, it's an okay young core. It's probably below average, but there are some shining lights. Robinson and Barrett could be very decent players, and they still have an opportunity to draft a nice player at that pick number 8. I feel like a player that would be perfect for the Knicks that has been proven, he's a star, he's proven he can develop with younger players and even still make the playoffs, and that's a player that the Knicks have been very interested in, a lot of Knicks fans like, and that's Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul would be perfect for the Knicks because they haven't had a great point guard besides maybe Jeremy Lin in the last 10 years, and Chris Paul is great at developing these players, and I can guarantee that RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson are going to have way better careers if they can have a player like Chris Paul teach them how it's done and actually have a player of Chris Paul's playmaking capability really give them the ball. So I think Chris Paul would be absolutely perfect for the team. He can also get them to the playoffs while building a really nice young core and building it with the young players. Of course, you might have to go get a Danilo Gallinari or another player like maybe DeMar DeRozan / Victor Oladipo to make it happen to get to the playoffs. But, while they're doing this, Chris Paul will still be able to develop Kevin Knox, Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett, and these 3 players I feel like would greatly improve with Chris Paul. But if you were going to give them Russell Westbrook, I don't see Russell Westbrook really improving these younger players at all. Westbrook is probably going to go into the mindset with, alright, let's just bring in, players like Danilo Gallinari, let's just, get me maybe some shooters, but his main priority is not going to be to help out the young core and get them better. I just don't think that's who Russell Westbrook is. But when it comes to Chris Paul took that challenge on with OKC. He knew really well that they're not going to want to make the playoffs. They're going to want to build this young core. So he went into with the mindset with, alright, well, let's try and make the playoffs and build the young core. Like, how much of a bizarre idea is that? Usually teams just go out and tank it, and that's what OKC reportedly wanted to do, but Chris Paul had other plans, and he turned Shai Gilgeous-Alexander into a near all-star caliber player. Darius Bazley has shown that he has a lot of talent here and there. You know, Ferguson, I think, was okay. And, you know, the young core at OKC just played really, really well with Chris Paul on the team. And, you know, again, players like Lou Dort, who was really a nobody a couple weeks ago, Chris Paul, you know, really took the chance with him and, you know, showed him the ropes and all that type of stuff. OKC put him in their starting lineup. He had one role, and that was to defend the shooting guard / small forward position and guard James Harden. He did it perfectly, and Chris Paul really congratulated him on that. He really, you know, helped him out. I just don't feel like players like him would really improve if they were to play alongside Russell Westbrook. I mean, I just don't like the move at all, and I don't think it makes any sense to me for the Knicks to go out and get Westbrook. Not just that, I feel like they could get Paul on, you know, a cheaper trade. Like, maybe they have to give up Kevin Knox and Julius Randle in a second. I don't think that, you know, really they would be too harsh to try and do that. But for Russell Westbrook, the Rockets will probably be wanting a couple seconds. They're going to want, you know, Reggie Bullock. They may even ask for a player like Kevin Knox, etc. I just don't think it makes any sense to really overpay for a player that wasn't great in the playoffs, isn't great at helping out these younger players, compared to a player like Chris Paul, who is great at mentoring these younger players, can prove that he can get to the playoffs on a team that had a reported 0.2% chance to make it. I just think it makes a lot of sense to go out and get Chris Paul and, you know, stick to the rebuild while also developing these young players alongside, you know, Chris Paul doing it. Very similar to how OKC went about it. And now look at OKC. They got one of the brightest futures in the NBA. And I feel like if the Knicks added Chris Paul to develop this young core and still build towards the playoffs, it would be a very, very good match. And who knows, if the Knicks did it, I feel like they could have a very, very bright future. But if they get Russell Westbrook, you know, Westbrook's not going to be able to help out this young core very much. And I just don't think it makes the most amount of sense. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA news and NBA content. Of course, don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Do you guys think the New York Knicks should go out and, you know, trade for Russell Westbrook? Do you guys think they should trade for Chris Paul? Again, I definitely would really like to know your thoughts and opinions on it all down below. But also, don't forget to go and subscribe to my gaming channel, MIRL/Flowing channel. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and of course subscribe to this channel. But also don't forget to check out my podcast as well. I've got post a lot of sports content on that if you haven't already. Links for them will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.